The person sitting across from you, the one you call brother, has already calculated the cost of your downfall. Loyalty is not a human trait. It is a commodity with an expiration date. Your kindness hasn't earned you respect. It has painted a target on your back. In the game of status, you are either the predator or the meal. There is no middle ground. You are suffering because you treat the world as you wish it to be, rather than as it truly is. You have allowed narcissists and fake allies to map your mind while you kept yours closed to their treachery. You lack dominion because you speak too much and observe too little. Today, the Florentine Mirror reflects the cold reality of the fox. By the end of this transmission, you will possess the only weapon that can paralyze a traitor before they breathe a word: the strategic silence. You sit there, suffocating under the need to be understood, to be liked, to be transparent. You think your honesty is a shield. It is a leash. You have been fed the sentimental lie that communication is the foundation of any relationship. That is the morality of the sheep. 99% of men fail because they fear the tension of a quiet room. You babble like a fool because you are terrified of what people might think if you don't explain yourself. Your transparency doesn't build trust, it builds a map for your enemies to follow. Your current behavior makes you prey because you have no mystery. You are a book already read, a city already conquered. You think your words are power. They are the static that hides your insignificance. The human brain is biologically wired to abhor a vacuum. This is the mechanism of the void. When you refuse to speak, you trigger a primal anxiety in the narcissist and the traitor. They cannot categorize you, therefore, they cannot control you. Think of the abyss. If you stare into it long enough, you start to hear your own heart beating, your own sins whispering. Silence is the butcher's knife that carves open the true intentions of those around you. When you cease to provide the social glue of conversation, others will panic. To soothe their own discomfort, they will leak information, offer unsolicited explanations, and expose their vulnerabilities just to fill the dead air. You are not just being quiet. You are applying psychological gravity, forcing their secrets to fall right into your lap. Look at the corporate boardroom. A high-stakes negotiation is underway. Most men rush to justify their price or their position, desperate to avoid a no. The master does the opposite. He states his terms and then stops. He leans back. He stares. He watches the fake friend across the table begin to fidget, adjust his tie, and eventually start talking himself into a worse deal. This is Caesar at the Rubicon. He didn't ask for permission. He let the silence of his march speak for him. Picture the traitor in your office trying to undermine your project. When they finish their critique, don't defend yourself. Look them in the eye and say nothing for 5 full seconds. Watch the sweat form on their brow as they wonder what you know that they don't. To master this today, follow these steps. Step 1: 5-second rule. In every conversation, when it is your turn to speak, wait 5 seconds. Look directly at the bridge of their nose. This creates a psychological dominance that signals you are the one in control of the pace. Step 2: answer every investigative question with a single, short sentence and follow it with a question of your own. If they ask, "What are your plans for the weekend?" you say, "I have matters to attend to." Why do you ask? Force them to justify their curiosity. Step 3: walk away while they are still talking. If a conversation is no longer serving your status, simply nod once and exit the room. Do not explain where you are going. Leave them talking to the ghost of your presence. If you ignore this, you will remain a puppet, dancing to the tune of anyone who knows how to pull your vocal cords. You will be betrayed by the very secrets you so eagerly volunteered to people who never deserved to hear them. Information is the only currency that matters. Don't spend it like a beggar. Silence is the throne of the predator. You are currently obsessed with being authentic. You wear your emotions on your sleeve like a common beggar displaying his sores for sympathy. 99% of men fail because they believe the modern myth that vulnerability is a strength. It is not. It is a structural flaw. You think that by showing your true self, you are building a foundation of loyalty, but you are merely handing your enemies a blueprint of your triggers. Your current behavior makes you prey because you are predictable. A man who cannot mask his intentions is nothing more than a domestic animal waiting for the slaughter. You think being a straight shooter is a virtue. It is your prison cell. The psychological principle at play is cognitive dissonance through dual projection. The human brain is designed to categorize threats quickly. Is this person a lion endangered or a fox deception? When you master the art of wearing the lion's mask while maintaining the fox's eyes, you short-circuit their ability to read you. This is the dagger hidden in the velvet. Biologically, the amygdala responds to the lion, the projection of status, calm, and physical presence, by inducing a state of submission or caution in others. However, while they are occupied with your external strength, your internal fox is scanning their micro-expressions, identifying their insecurities, and calculating their price. You are essentially running a background program of high-level surveillance while your user interface remains perfectly, terrifyingly still. Consider a high-stakes negotiation or a social gathering where a friend is subtly trying to diminish your status with a joke at your expense. The average man either laughs awkwardly, the victim, or gets angry, the weak lion. You will do neither. You will wear the lion's mask, keep your face immobile, your posture expansive, and your gaze steady. But behind those eyes, you are the fox. You aren't listening to the joke, you are observing who else in the room laughed, how long they laughed, and who looked at you to gauge your reaction. This is how Napoleon operated at the height of his power. He would project an aura of absolute, immovable destiny, while his mind was a hyper-active calculator of every troop movement and political betrayal on the horizon. By the time the Joker finishes his sentence, you have already mapped out exactly how to isolate him from the group. To execute this today, follow these steps. Step 1. The stone facade. Practice in a mirror until you can hold a conversation without moving your eyebrows or the corners of your mouth. This mask of neutrality forces others to project their own fears onto you. Step 2. The peripheral scan. When someone is speaking to you, maintain direct eye contact to project the lion's dominance, but consciously expand your awareness to the room around you. Note who is whispering, who is leaning away, and who is mimicking your body language. Step 30. Use the delayed reaction. When insulted or praised, wait 3 seconds before responding. The fox uses this time to analyze the motive behind the words, while the lion's silence makes the other person regret ever speaking. If you ignore this law, you will remain a transparent, emotional child in a world of cold-blooded strategists. You will be blindsided by the very people you thought were under your control because you were too busy performing for them to actually see them. The lion protects the kingdom, but the fox survives the night. You are currently addicted to the comfort of the status quo. You think that as long as things are fine, you are safe. This is the delusion of the doomed. 99% of men fail because they wait for the betrayal to happen before they react. You believe that testing your friends is toxic or paranoid. In reality, it is the only way to survive. Your current behavior makes you prey because you allow the traitors in your circle to choose the time and place of their strike. You are a passive observer of your own potential ruin. You think patience is a virtue. In the face of a hidden enemy, patience is merely the slow crawl toward the gallows. The psychological principle here is behavioral destabilization. A traitor thrives on your predictability. They have built a mental model of how you react, which allows them to hide in your blind spots. To unmask them, you must introduce a pattern interrupt. This is the psychological equivalent of throwing a stone into a dark well to hear how deep it is. Biologically, the human brain relies on the predictive coding mechanism to save energy. When you act in a way that contradicts their expectations, their prefrontal cortex has to work overtime to recalibrate. Under this cognitive load, the social mask slips. The narcissist or the snake cannot maintain their facade of loyalty when they are busy scrambling to understand your new, erratic rhythm. Imagine a colleague who has been subtly taking credit for your ideas. Instead of confronting them, which is what a weak man does, you use forced exposure. In the next meeting, feed them a poison pill, an idea that sounds brilliant but contains a fatal, hidden flaw that only you know how to fix. Watch with the eyes of the fox as they eagerly swallow it and present it as their own. When the flaw is inevitably exposed, you remain the calm, silent observer while they drown in their own ambition. This is the tactic of the Roman emperors, who would spread false rumors of their own illness just to see which loyal senators started celebrating too early. You aren't creating the treachery, you are simply providing the light for it to be seen. To execute this today, follow these steps. Step 1. See the false vulnerability. Tell your suspected traitor a secret that is actually a harmless lie. If that information reaches a third party, you have identified the leak without losing anything of value. Step 2. The sudden pivot. Change a major plan at the last minute without explanation. Observe who complains the loudest. The person whose hidden plan relied on your previous schedule will be the one who loses their composure. Step 3. The direct void. Ask a pointed, uncomfortable question like, "Why did you say that about me?" And then use key Fei 1 the silenced. Do not break the tension. Let them stutter until the truth leaks out. If you ignore this law, you are essentially sleeping with your doors unlocked in a city of thieves. You will eventually be destroyed by someone you called a friend, simply because you were too cowardly to test their foundations. True loyalty is not found, it is proven through the fire of the test. You are a slave to your own empathy. You have been conditioned to believe that someone in pain is someone who needs your protection. This is your greatest vulnerability. 99% of men fail here because they view the victim as a moral category rather than a strategic one. You think your compassion makes you a good man. It makes you a host for parasites. Your current behavior makes you prey because you lack the stomach to see a tear for what it often is, a weapon. In the world of power, the helpless person is often the most dangerous predator in the room because they use your own morality to disarm you. You think you are the hero saving the day. You are just the shield the narcissist uses to hide their next strike. The psychological principle here is emotional subjugation through altruism. When someone presents as a victim, they trigger a rescue response in your brain, specifically within the mirror neurons and the oxytocin pathways. This biological hijack shuts down your fox's eyes, your critical thinking, and replaces it with an urge to provide resources, protection, or status. The dark seduction of the victim lies in the fact that they don't demand your submission, they invite you to prove your worth by serving them. Biologically, the predator-victim uses impression management to frame themselves as low threat, which allows them to bypass your amygdala's alarm system and infiltrate your inner circle undetected. Consider the office underdog, who is always being unfairly treated by the boss. They come to you for comfort, and you, feeling like a lion, defend them. You have just been recruited into their war. Notice how, over time, they never actually improve their situation, they only improve their access to your influence. This is a classic narcissistic maneuver. They use your strength to fight their battles, and the moment you are no longer useful, they will cast you as the abuser to someone else. It is the same strategy used in high-level espionage, the damsel in distress, or the wronged official, who lures the target into a position of compromise. By the time you realize the victim has teeth, your neck is already between them. To execute this today, follow these steps. Step 1. The resource freeze. When someone brings you a tale of woe, offer advice but zero resources. Do not give them your time, your money, or your political capital. A true victim seeks a solution, a predator victim seeks a donor. Step 2. The pattern audit. Look back at their history. If they have a trail of toxic people behind them, realize that the common denominator is them. Stop listening to the story and start looking at the wreckage. Step 3. The direct mirror. When they start their lament, look them in the eye and ask, what was your role in creating this situation? Watch how quickly their victim mask turns into a snarl of predatory rage. If you ignore this law, you will spend your life as a pack mule for the weak, carrying their burdens until your own back breaks. You will be drained of your status and your energy by people who will never thank you because they believe your sacrifice is their birthright. Pity is the poison that kills the lion. You are obsessed with belonging. You fear the cold of the social periphery, so you huddle with the group, seeking safety in numbers. This is your death warrant. 99% of men fail because they believe a unified circle is a strong circle. In reality, a unified circle is a conspiracy waiting to happen. You think being a team player secures your position. It makes you a target. Your current behavior makes you prey because you allow the traitors in your circle to consolidate their power against you. You think loyalty is built in a crowd. Loyalty is a debt that can only be collected one-on-one. By remaining part of the mass, you are merely providing the consensus that will eventually vote for your exile. The psychological principle at play is social fragmentation. In any hierarchy, the leader's greatest threat is a secret alliance between subordinates. This is the Borgia strategy. Biologically, human beings are social primates who rely on group signals to form coalitions. When you isolate an individual from the group, you trigger their survival instinct, making them more desperate for your approval and less concerned with the group's goals. By sowing seeds of doubt and creating information silos, you disrupt the neural pathways of collective trust. You force each member to operate in a state of hyper-vigilance, looking at their peers with the eyes of the fox rather than the heart of a brother. Observe the modern professional environment. When you see two friends whispering, the weak man feels excluded. The master feels opportunity. You do not confront the alliance, you fracture it. You take one aside and give them a privileged piece of information, a secret, about a promotion or a change in strategy, and tell them not to share it with the other. Then you do the same with the second person, giving them a conflicting piece of data. Now, when they speak, they will feel a subtle friction. They are no longer a unit. They are two individuals hiding things from each other. This is how the Florentine princes maintained dominion over their courts. They didn't fight the crowd. They broke the crowd into lonely, manageable pieces. To execute this today, follow these steps. Step 1. The divide and confide. Select the two most influential people in your circle. Give each of them a different, confidential task. This creates a sense of individual importance that slowly erodes their collective bond. Step 2. The public exclusion. In a group setting, give a specific compliment to one person while pointedly ignoring the other. Watch as the ignored party develops a fox's envy toward their friend. Step 3. The whisper of doubt. Mention a minor, non-existent concern someone else supposedly had about them. You don't need to lie, just say, "I heard someone was worried about your performance, but I defended you." Now, they will spend their energy searching for a phantom enemy instead of plotting against you. If you ignore this law, you will be the victim of a coordinated strike. You will wake up to find that the brothers you trusted have already divided your territory while you were busy being a friend. A unified circle is a noose. Pull the threads until it unravels. Power is a solitary throne. Those who share it lose it. You are plagued by the disease of hope. You believe that people can change, that a second chance is a sign of character, and that mercy will buy you gratitude. This is your terminal error. 99% of men fail because they wound their enemies instead of finishing them. You think your forgiveness makes you a better man? It makes you a fool. Your current behavior makes you prey because you leave the snakes alive in your garden, waiting for the sun to come out so they can bite you again. You think half measures are safe. They are a slow-acting poison. A man who shows mercy to a traitor is simply giving them a chance to correct their previous mistakes for the next strike. The psychological principle here is the resentment feedback loop. When you catch a traitor and let them stay in your circle, you have not earned their loyalty, you have earned their permanent hatred. Biologically, the human brain cannot handle the shame of being caught in a betrayal. To survive this shame, the traitor's mind will flip the narrative. They will convince themselves that you are the villain for catching them. This triggers a surge in cortisol and adrenaline, keeping them in a state of hyper-aroused hostility. By being kind, you are keeping their nervous system on high alert. They will not rest until they have erased the witness to their shame. You consider the historical precedent of the pardon. Every king who pardoned a conspirator ended up with a dagger in his back within the year. In modern terms, look at the employee you caught stealing or the friend you caught lying. You talked it out and kept them around. Now, notice the atmosphere. It is heavy, cold, and fake. They are currently in a boardroom or a bar elsewhere, painting you as a tyrant to justify their next betrayal. This is the law of the cold hand. Once the line is crossed, the relationship must be clinically and permanently terminated. There is no going back. You must be like the surgeon who cuts out the gangrene before it reaches the heart. You don't argue with the rot, you remove it. To execute this today, follow these steps. Step 1. The absolute ghost. Once a betrayal is confirmed, cut all communication immediately. No exit interview, no final argument, no explanation. Deleting their existence from your life is the ultimate display of power. Step 2. The asset recovery. Quietly and efficiently move all shared resources, information, or access away from them before you execute the cut. Leave them with nothing to use against you. Step 3. The public neutrality. If asked about their absence, do not vent or show anger. Say our interests no longer align, and move on. Anger shows they still have power over you. Indifference shows they are dead. If you ignore this law, you will be destroyed by your own generosity. You will be the man who let the wolf back into the fold because it looked cold, only to be eaten while you slept. A wounded traitor is more dangerous than an army. Strike once, strike deep, and never look back.